So the title of the class is God Fights for Us. I'm gonna begin with talking about I'm going to begin with the scriptures talking about how we were established as a nation, the nation of Israel. When we came out of Egypt, before Egypt, when we were given God's laws, we were already considered a great people in mind before we actually became a great people in Egypt. It was predestined for us to be a great nation. We are at a low point now because we're in captivity, but I'm going to go through the beginning and the midst and the end of this whole warfare of Israel. Showing you that if reality was a movie, and these other nations were the what do you call them? Cast members? Not cast members. Cast extras. Israel, Jacob, we are the star of the movie. I'm going to show you how deep their war tactics go as far as trying to come against us, because they know we are blessed people and we're the greatest nation upon earth. Real quick, I want to start in the book of Ecclesiasticus chapter 39. So this is one of the main ones, so Darren, and if you can get Psalms 47, 19, we're going to read from 19 to verse 20. Let's read this one first.
The book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 39 and verse 16.
How many of you don't have an apocrypha, those that are new? Don't have an apocrypha? All right, can we get 2 apocryphas? I want to get these brothers apocryphas before I start reading, so give me 1 second. How many of you don't know what the apocrypha is? I know we had a lot of new people. How many know what this book is? You ever seen this before? Okay. Sisters, I don't know if we have new sisters that you never seen this before? Never? Okay. We got a 1611? Y'all brothers got 60? You got one? Okay. Oh, you just hold it up. If you look, the 1611 is a King James Bible. Okay, it was before they, when it was translated, it had the apocrypha in it. When King James authorized it to be translated, it had the apocrypha in it. The word apocrypha means hidden books. They had a disagreement between the Protestant Christian Church and the Catholic Church. The Protestant Christian Church, they removed it. Okay, that was in the late 1700s, or early 1700s. They removed the apocrypha. But when you actually look into the apocrypha, matter of fact, when you look in the New Testament, you heard of Hanukkah, right? Or in other words, Feast of Dedication. That was a feast day Christ kept. If you have never read the apocrypha, you wouldn't know which high holy day he was keeping. The Feast of Dedication was, or which they call Hanukkah, was a day that was established after the Greeks had defiled the sanctuary. So what the Feast of Dedication meant for us to go back into the feast, the temple, and rededicate it to the Lord. Once we defeated the Greeks. So what Christ was celebrating was the victory of us overcoming or overtaking the Greeks, taking back our temple to establish it back to the Lord. So that's what the Feast of Dedication is about. But you'll read it, it says Christ was in the temple, he was on Solomon's porch, and it was a Feast of Dedication. You would not know what that is talking about unless you read the Apocrypha. And many other things it says in the Apocrypha that links up with the scriptures. When you look in, I believe it's 2 Chronicles. Yeah. You read about the prayer of Manasseh. That's in the Apocrypha. Also, you read about in Chronicles, I think it's the 33rd chapter, it says something, his prayer was recorded in the books of the sayings of the seers. That's what this was called. The sayings of the prophets. Seers meaning prophets. So this book is godly inspired. So let nobody can confuse you talking about you add into the scriptures. That's what they say to keep you from reading it. Because it also denounced that education that they gave us, talking about the northern kingdom, or which we call so-called Hispanics and Native American Indians. They came through the Bering Strait. This book denies that. It tells you how they got on this side of the earth. They didn't come through a Bering Strait. They came on ships. Okay, it tells you in the book of 2 Ezra 13. All All right, so we'll go into it another time. You here with us? Are you in Jacksonville, Tampa? You here? Leesburg, okay. All right. So we'll go into it, Lord's will. If we have time, we'll touch on it a little later. So that's what this Apocrypha is about. So let's go to the book of Ecclesiasticus, 39. Let's read verse 16 again.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, or Sirach, chapter 39 and verse 16. All the works of the Lord are exceeding good, and whatsoever he commandeth shall be accomplished in due season.
It says, all the works of the Lord are exceeding good. Everything that he did upon this earth is good. This goes back to what we read in 1 Timothy 4:4. It says, all things of God that is created is good, nothing to be refused, if it be received with thanksgiving. That's what it's going into. So yeah, the pig was created for good. Not good for you to eat, but it was created for its purpose. Same thing with the shrimp. It was created, it was made good in its time, but not good for us to eat. Man, get that confused. Talking about it is good. See, God said it's good. I mean, you can eat. No, he was saying that it's good for its purpose. You read Ecclesiastes, it says that everything was made beautiful in its time. Read that real quick. Soldier and the Thais, get that in Ecclesiastes. This is in the Bible, Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes 3:11.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3 and verse 11. He have made everything beautiful in his time.
So that's what it means by when it's saying it is good. That's why every response after he created something in Genesis, he said it was good. We went over that before, right? So everything was made beautiful in its time. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 39, verse 16. All the works of the Lord are exceeding good, and whatsoever he commandeth shall be accomplished in due season.
It says, all the works of the Lord are exceeding good, and whatsoever he commanded shall be accomplished in due season. Read on.
And none may say, what is this? Wherefore is that? For at the time convenient they shall be all sought out.
Even the things that we don't understand. Like we were asked, Ezra's asked this question, if we are your people, why are we put in this position where we're serving another race of people? If we were given your laws first, and you loved us above everybody else, why are we in this situation where we're underneath them? It says everything is going to be what? Everything is going to be at, read that again, verse 17.
And none may say, what is this? Wherefore is that?
Okay, why is that? Read on.
For at time convenient they shall all be sought out.
For at time convenient they shall all be sought out. I mean, everything's going to be explained in due time. It was a reason why we fell, so we can understand that this is what happened when you go against your God. This is what happens. The Lord will take a race and set them over you, like he said he was going to do in the book of Deuteronomy. Y'all remember that? The nations which are among you, you're going to start lending. They're going to start lending to you. And you're going to be the tail, they're going to be the head. He said that to us. He says everything was going to be sought out in due time. And it's evident amongst us now. Now we understand if we screw up again, well, this is the last time anyway, but we understand now why we're in this position, some of us anyway. Because everything was revealed to us in due time through the scriptures. Read on.
At his commandment, the water stood as in heat.
Okay, talking about when we came out of Egypt. When at his commandment, the water stood as a heat. When we were able to walk through the Red Sea. Read on.
And at the words of his mouth, the receptacles of waters.
Read.
At his commandment is done whatsoever pleases him, and none can hinder when he will save. The works of all flesh are before him.
This is a scripture you can use when people say the Bible is tampered with. What did he say?
The works of all flesh.
Everything that man doeth. That's what we're talking about, flesh. Everything that man doeth, read on.
Are before him.
Are before him. You can't just mess with God's word and he just slip by his eyes. He says all the works of flesh are before him. So nobody tampered with the Bible. We ain't got nothing to worry about when they say, well, the Bible has been changed, revised, it's been rewrote this many times. All nonsense. God say the earth, he says what? He said the world is in the palm of his hand. He can govern it the way he likes. So there's nothing revised in this Bible to where it doesn't make sense. Everything matches up perfectly what we're going through in life. Everything. It said the word is undefiled. Read on.
And none can hinder when he will save. The works of all flesh are before him. And nothing can be hid from his eyes.
And nothing can be hid from his eyes. Read on.
He seeth from everlasting to everlasting. And there is nothing wonderful before him.
And there's nothing too amazing before him. He knows all. He's seen from everlasting to everlasting. That's how he was able to show Moses. Read on.
A man need not to say, what is this? Wherefore is that? For he have made all things for their uses.
That goes back to what we was explaining earlier. Even the pig, even the shrimp, even the crab, even the lobster, oyster, all these things were made for their...
The book of Isaiah, chapter 63 and verse 8. For he said, surely they are my people, children that will not lie. So he was their savior.
God was our savior. He was our savior. But what happened in the process of time?
In all their affliction, he was afflicted.
We were afflicted in Egypt, and he felt every affliction. Just like we read in the book of Matthew. God said, as you have clothed one of these little ones, you did it unto me. So when we were afflicted in Egypt, he felt that too. So hurting us was like hurting him. So you don't think God is going to repay them for what he's doing to us today? Oh, he got a problem with it. He just keeping silence now. So when he come back, just how we're angry with oppression that we see, he said, matter of fact, give me that real quick in the book of Ecclesiastes, Soldier and Athijah. We think that God don't see this stuff right here. This is why a lot of people turn from the faith, because they don't think he acknowledges it. But guess what? He does. Read that in Ecclesiastes 5 and 8.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 5, verse 8. If thou seest the oppression of the poor and violent, perverting of judgment and justice in a province.
If you see this oppression of the poor and violent perverting of judgment, read on.
Marvel not at the matter.
God say don't marvel at the matter. Don't be confused about it. Read on.
For he that is higher than the highest regarded.
For he that is highest than the highest, he regarded it. Read on.
And there be higher than they.
And they be higher than they. God is acknowledging that. So when he said, when you see all of this stuff, don't be confused by it. It ain't skipping by his face. He saw it in Egypt. He see it here in America. Okay. So let's go back to Isaiah 63.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 63 and verse 9. In all their affliction he was afflicted, and the angel of his presence saved them. In his love and in his pity he redeemed them. And he bare them and carried them all the days of old. But they rebelled and vexed his Holy Spirit.
Which brings us down to this point. It says, in the process of time we fell completely, being scattered in another land, now with confusions of faces. In America, this is when, before that, we rebelled against him. Read on.
But they rebelled and vexed his Holy Spirit. Therefore, he was turned to be their enemy.
Therefore, our God turned to be our enemy. That's what happened to us. God turned to be our enemy. Read on.
And he fought against them.
Brothers and sisters, God fought against us. They ain't had nothing to do with the other nations. God put them against us. He fought against us as he was supposed to fight for us, but we sinned. It was our fault. From that, let's get the book of Jeremiah 50, verse 33. So now we're in this stage where the Lord, our God, fought against us, and eventually we were carried over into this land that we see today, known as, in the scriptures, Ashereth, meaning another land, or America. Read that, Jeremiah 50, 33.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah.
That's both kingdoms, southern and northern kingdom. Southern kingdom going into the so-called blacks, so-called Jamaicans, and so-called Haitians. Israel going into the 10 tribes. That's the so-called Indians, or so-called Hispanics or Latinos. It says, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were what?
Oppressed together.
We are oppressed together in this land. Oppressed together, read on.
And all that took them captives.
And all that took them captives, read on.
Held them fast.
They held us what?
Held them fast.
They held us fast. Read on.
They refused to let them go.
Very important part of the scripture. They refused to let us go. They held us captive. They didn't let us go. They held us fast. Real quick, let's give me the book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 7. Now here we going now into some of the articles and the pictures to kind of give you a visual of what it's saying when they held us fast and choose not to let us go. Give me the book of Exodus chapter 1 verse 7.
The book of Exodus, chapter 1 and verse 7. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them.
How?
Let us deal wisely with them.
Read on.
Lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us.
Okay, so what did they do? They put us in bondage. They put us in slavery. Jump down to the point. Jump down to the point, verse 14.
Verse 14. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. And their service, wherein they made them serve, was with rigor. Okay,
and then we began to cry unto the Lord, and then we were redeemed. Now I want you to read. Let's go to chapter 14. Let's kind of speed it up. Let's go to chapter 14. Let's read verse 5.
The book of Exodus, chapter 14 and verse 5.
This is when the land of Egypt was smitten with the 10 plagues, and we were delivered. And this is what happened. Let's read that. Verse 14, chapter 14, verse 5.
And it was told the king of Egypt that the people fled, and the heart of Pharaoh of his servants was turned against the people.
Okay, so when the Egyptians were smitten and the firstborn of Egypt died, somebody came to Pharaoh on his throne when he was in mourning about his son and said, look, the people, they caught up in the wilderness. We know where they at. They out of the land. They're far away from Egypt. Read on.
And they said, why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us?
Why have we let them go from serving us? When they were here, they were building up these cities. Now they're gone. Who else is going to build what we established? Who's going to build this vision that we were discussing? We need them back in this land. They understood that us leaving was the fall of their empire, was the beginning of their empire to fall or to crumble. They needed us in that land. Said, look, you let these people go, it's a problem, because now the building stops. We need them back in the land. Read that real quick in Proverbs, Soldier and Thais, Proverbs 14:28.
Hey, you see that in America today.
Oh, I ain't get to it yet.
I just want to say this one quote, because instead of giving us reparations, they say, nah, give them more jobs. We can't pay them back that. Just give them more jobs. Let them keep working the building. My bad. Go ahead.
No, you good. We going into it. We're going to show you some videos on this thing too. Get that.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 14, verse 28. And the multitude of the people is the king's honor, but in the want of the people,
but the lack of the people
is the destruction of the prince.
He knew that was going to happen. The lack of the people that we have is going to be the destruction of the prince. My son is supposed to be taking over this empire. This stuff ain't finished. We need to go get them. They done too much damage for us to let them go. They ain't getting off that easy. Get them horses ready. Let's go back.
Hey, Cap, can I just say something right quick? You just said, my son. So that's telling you that today, when we look at these that are in power right now, you think their mindset is any different than their forefathers?
Right, exactly. Hey, officer, you already let the cat out of the bag. We got to get it. Let's get it. Psalms 49. Psalms 49. That was the last scripture was Proverbs 14:28. Get that, Proverbs 49, verse 11.
The book of Psalms, chapter 49 and verse 11. Their inward thought is
what?
That their houses shall continue forever.
Why do you let these people go? We supposed to be building Egypt forever. This supposed to last. They ain't done. Their work ain't finished. Read on.
And their dwelling places to all generations.
To their sons. They knew the lack of the people was the destruction of the prince. We need them back. Read on.
They called their lands after their own name.
So that's the point I want out of that. They wanted to keep it going forever. Real quick. Let's get the book of Psalm 64.
The book of Psalms, chapter 64 and verse 5. They encourage themselves in an evil matter.
Okay, so now bring it up to speed. In America, it says read verse 1.
Verse 1. Hear my voice, O God, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked.
Psalms 83. Freedom.
From the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword, and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect.
That they may shoot in how?
In secret.
In secret. Remember that. That they may shoot in secret at the poor. Read on.
Suddenly,
at the perfect. At the perfect. Read on.
Suddenly do they shoot at him and fear not.
Why is it worded that way? It says they shoot at the perfect in secret. So now that they shot at him and they wounded him, which our wound was sin, now they can shoot at him full-fledged. Now because they already destroyed. They're already where we want them to be. We shot at them secretly. We couldn't touch them at first, but we can influence them to do sin. Therefore, when they sin, we can just go full-fledged and take over them. Now they shoot at them and they fear not. That's what happened to us. That's why they putting their hands on us today, because they ain't got nothing to fear. They researched our records. They knew our weakness. If these people sin, we can touch them. If they don't sin, we can't mess with them. Now we are in sin and they shot us in perfect. They shot us in secret. Now they shooting us in the street. They choking us out, talking about F your breath, hanging us and all this other stuff. That's what brings us to this point. They shoot at us and they fear not. Read on.
Verse 5. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily.
They commune. They have meetings of laying up snares privily. How can we get these people to fall under our subjection? You see how the Egyptians did it. You see what happened to them. We need to do what they did. Deal wisely with them, because they growing. They outnumber us. We need to deal wisely with them, just like the Egyptians did. We need to give them the bondage. We need to give them the slavery, just like the Egyptians did. They researched all of this. Read on.
They say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities.
They searched out iniquities. They went through our history. What was their fall? Okay. They got a problem with idolatry. They got a problem with adultery. They got a problem with lying. Sodomy. They worse than the heathen. They do worse than the heathen. Okay. All right. They steal from one another. They got hatred. Okay. They're covetous. We know how to take these people down. Their God wrote everything that they were supposed to follow. They lawless. We know how to overcome them. They researched our records. Now they have the advantage. Read on.
They accomplish a diligent search.
They accomplish a diligent search, looking through our history. Read on.
Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep.
Read on.
But God shall shoot at them with an arrow.
That's verse 6. Verse 7. Okay, now, give me the Netflix real quick. Here's the same thing that they did to us as the Egyptians did for themselves. They used us. For slaves back then in Egypt to build up their treasure cities, America did the same thing in the same mindset the Egyptians had. Get that real quick. We're going to go to 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 51 seconds. This is a movie on Netflix. It's called The 13th Amendment. I want y'all to listen closely to what they're saying. Play that.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
If you're in the prison business,
Turn up a little bit.
You don't want reform. You may say you do, but you don't.
And there are a bunch of people out there desperately trying to make sure that that prison.
It says if you are in the prison business, you don't want to reform. They was going through several things about the prison system, and a lot of companies are invested in this thing. Walmart is one. A lot of the insurance company, health insurance company, a lot of the pharmacies, a lot of major companies that we know are invested into the prison systems. I think Michael Jordan also funded in some of these prison systems.
Yep. He just started it. It's a lot of athletes and entertainers now, black athletes, that are investing that way.
For the destruction of our people. Our people, for all the money that they want, they invested into this thing too. But I want you to hear what he just said. He said, I want you to go back. I want you to play from where you left off.
Suddenly, sort of out of the blue, it actually has real financial interests.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
If you're in the prison business, you don't want reform. You may say you do, but you don't.
And there are a bunch of people out there desperately trying to make sure that that prison population does not drop one person because their economic model needs that.
Prison industrial complex refers to the system of mass incarceration and companies that profit from mass incarceration. That includes both operators of private prisons, which get a lot of attention, as well as a vast sea of vendors.
From Securus Technologies that supplies telephone services that made $114 million in profits last year.
Those calls to family and friends are costing a pretty penny in state prisons.
They inflate the price that they charge the inmate and the inmate's family.
For example, in Maryland, if you earn minimum wage, you'd have to work an hour and a half to afford a 10-minute phone call. There's also Aramark, one of the big food service providers. In more than one state, they've been accused of having maggots in the food that they've served. Horizon Healthcare provides healthcare services in 28 different states, multi-million-dollar contracts for this service.
Huge incentives given to contractors for very long contracts. So it's actually a disincentive to provide this service because you're going to be paid anyway.
One of the reasons it's so difficult to talk about mass incarceration in this country and to question it is because it has become so heavily monetized.
A little company called Unicor that does $900 million in business annually. How do they do it? Volume. Also, prison labor.
Partnerships between correctional industries and private business are a rapidly growing segment of a multi-billion-dollar industry in America.
We talk about sweatshops and we beat our fists at people overseas for exploiting poor free labor, but we don't look that it's happening right here at home every day. You have corporations who are now investing in this free labor.
It's all over. It's from sports, uniforms, hats, Microsoft, Boeing. Federal inmates are making the guidance systems for the Patriot missile system. JCPenney jeans made in Tennessee. Victoria's Secret. Anderson flooring, wood products are made in Georgia. It's always been Idaho potatoes. They're planted, grown, harvested, packed, and shipped by inmates.
Victoria's Secret and JCPenney switched suppliers once their ties came to light. Simply put, corporations are operating in prisons and profiting from punishment.
Prison industries have gotten so big that it's very difficult now to try and do away with them. Too much money out there, too many lawmakers that support it because they're being lobbied. So the public's got to stand up and take it back. It'll never get done if they don't.
All right. So as you can see, they make money off of the prison. The inmates, now I want you to understand, because you see a lot of Edomite, you've seen a lot of Edomite faces in there. It's all camouflage. I want to show you something real quick. So Darren, you got the book?
Yes, sir.
And then I'm gonna explain what I'm saying. Read that real quick. Show the hold it up real quick. This is a college book. It's sociology. I want you to read something out of that. Read the yellow highlights.
Sociology, Understanding a Diverse Society, page 503. Race and sentencing. What happens once minority citizens are arrested for a crime? Upon arraignment, bail is set higher for an African American and Latinos than for whites. And minorities have less success in plea bargaining. Once on trial, minority defendants are found guilty more than often white defendants. At sentencing, African Americans and Latinos are likely to get longer sentences than whites for the same crimes, even when they have the same number of prior arrests and same socioeconomic background.
Jump to the second highlight. It's a lot on that, but I want to jump.
Prisons, deterrence, or rehabilitation. Racial minorities are more than half of the federal and state male prisoners in the United States. Blacks have the highest rates of imprisonment, followed by Hispanics, then Native Americans and Asians.
Okay, real quick, just in case We don't understand what's going on. Give me the book of Isaiah, chapter 42, verse 22. We are targeted as a race of people. They understand us. They know what we're about. That's why we are on the state poverty law. I was going to pull it, Soldier Daniel, but I don't think we're going to have the time. It's already 5 o'clock. There is a article that he pulled up, and it showed you the statistics between hate groups. They said, I forget the percentage of white supremacy, KKK, neo-Nazi, and there was something else. And then they said black, what did they say, black hate group? Black separatists. If you could pull it up real fast. Right, pull that up real quick. Pull that real quick. Can y'all see that?
This place is cool.
As a software factory should be.
So it runs on software?
It is software, enabling continuous delivery.
Pull it up again. Can y'all see that? Can y'all read that? Okay. Do you see where it says black supremacists and then neo-Nazi, white nationalists, anti-Muslim? Outside of, well, actually, you can include them too. If you look, all of those groups outside of black separatists, do you know that's the same doggone group? It's the same group. They just categorize them by name. They all believe in the same thing, white supremacy. So who outnumber the so-called hate group? They do. But you know why we're considered a problem? Because we're trying to come back to where we're trying to come back to the same way that they despise. Because they know that when we separate, we're set on top again. So they make us look like we're the big problem. We straight in the red, like cold red, like we the ones at top of the map of hate. When they all represent the same thing, white supremacy. It's a problem because they know who we are. They know we're waking up. So let's read that real quick. Let's go back to the prophecy. Read Isaiah 42, verse 22. This is what we just seen out of that movie.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 42, verse 22. But this is a people.
But this is a people. Not that this is a people that is robbed. Not talking about everybody. This is a people. The nation of Israel. Read on.
Robbed and spoiled.
Robbed and spoiled. Read on. Or destroyed. That's where spoiled. Read on.
They are all of them snared in holes. And they are hid in prison houses.
They are hid in prison houses. Read on.
They are for a prey, and none deliver it.
And they are for a prey, and none deliver them. Real quick, let's go to the book of Lamentations 2:16. We're going to try to speed it up.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 2 and verse 16.
So now they got us right where they want us, in their claws, in America. When we sin and we fail, God fought against us. They know how to keep this process going of keeping us slaves. Like we read, they refuse to let them go. Now they can sit back and say what? Let's read that.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 2 and verse 16. All thy enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash the teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up.
We have swallowed this nation up. Read on.
Certainly, this is the day that we have looked for.
Certainly, this right here, this day that we have looked for. All our founding fathers have looked for. Read on.
We have found. We have seen it. The Lord
we have found, we have seen it. Read on.
The Lord have done that which he had devised. He have fulfilled his word that he had commanded in the days of old. He have thrown down.
Lord telling you what they read. They knew what was supposed to happen in the days of old. They read it. He telling you what they think. This is the day we look for. These so-called blacks and Hispanics, they in the ghetto where we want them. They on Section 8. They on welfare. They are in the ghetto destroying themselves. They strung out on drugs and alcohol. We got a church, liquor store, church, liquor store, church, liquor store, trap house on every corner, strip club on every corner. This is what we was waiting for. Now that we know their fall, let's keep this position. We got to keep them in sin. Let's shoot at them privily. Get that real quick in Isaiah 47, verse 1. Now we're going to Psalm 64, we just read. And we're going to show you some examples.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 47 and verse 1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon.
Hold on, let me get that with you real quick. It says, come down, sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Talking about America. Okay, that goes back to Psalms, right? Daughter of Babylon, says, daughter of Babylon, children of Egypt, Edom. Read on.
Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans.
Bringing you to the end of their time, the end of their world, the end of America. That's what it's going into. Read on.
For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind the mill.
But it says no more you can be called tender and delicate. All of our people outside of America, they want to come here because they don't know what it is to suffer over here. Okay, now don't get me wrong, they're suffering in poverty a lot more than us, but the oppression, they don't know what it is over here. They think this city right here is the land of Canaan. They think this is milk and honey, well, the land of Israel. They think this is the kingdom of heaven over here. That's how they think outside of America. He said, Lord's going to take that reputation off of y'all. Y'all ain't going to be called tender and delicate no more. He said, y'all ain't going to be touched. Read on.
Take the millstones and grind the mill.
He said, get to work. That's what he's saying. Y'all been sitting on the high stool for too long. Read on.
Uncover thy locks. Make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh. Pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen.
Right now, that shame is being seen. It's on Netflix how they treating us. We know now we can make the comparison between the two. We can make the cross-reference. Their shame is being told. They telling on themselves. The Most High, they say they're going to make them drunk to where they get drunk to where they're going to expose the foreskins. Meaning they're going to reveal all their wickedness, which brings us to why Jeremiah said what he said. All of the Gentiles shall come to you in the last days saying, surely our fathers, they have inherited lies. Our fathers been lying to y'all all together. We know who y'all are. We didn't think y'all was going to figure it out. We've been lying to y'all. Y'all the Jews. Where do we stand with y'all? They said it. You can go on YouTube right now. These Edomites know who we are. These Ishmaelites know who we are. There was a video that Ishmaelites saying, look, y'all, we know who y'all are. Y'all need to come back to Jerusalem. We need y'all. We're suffering. I wish you could play the video. If we have time, we'll play it later. They know who we are. Read on.
I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. As for our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts, his name, the Holy One of Israel, sit thou silent, and get thee into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms.
How is she the Lady of Kingdom? Because all nations, they come here, and this is how they get their wealth. Read on.
I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance, and given them into thine hand.
I was mad with my people, and I gave them into your hands. They were oppressed together in your land. Read on.
Thou didst show them no mercy.
They ain't showing us no mercy in this land. We all got 9 to 5s up in here, right? Am I correct? We don't get no mercy on our jobs. God said it is a vanity when a man at work and he still, when he leaveth off from work, he's still behind. How do you go to work and you still behind? I'm supposed to work and I'm supposed to be okay until I fall behind and I go back to work. How you go to work and still behind? You clock off and you still late on bills. That's captivity. Read on.
Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke.
Where's that in there, Parker? I gotta read real quick. Let me get that scripture. When I read that, I was like, man, that's right there. That's hard to read. When it says he leaveth off, he is still yet more behind. It's like, man, if that ain't us. 39? Type that up on the computer. Still by. Oh, right. 31:4.
Sirach.
Yes, sir.
The book of Sirach. Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha chapter 31, verse 4. The poor laboreth in his poor estate.
In case you don't know where you stand as far as your title, whether you're rich or poor, God gonna give you a vision on where you stand, okay? In case we confused. He says the poor laboreth in his what?
Poor estate.
His poor estate. Read on.
And when he leaveth off.
And when he leaveth off from working or laboring.
He is still needy.
We are still needy. Hey, this identifying the poor. God telling we poor. This is why he says, I know thy tribulation and thy poverty, but thou art rich. We the poor he's talking about. We leave it off and we still in need. That's what condition they got us in today. They ain't showing no mercy. Let's go back to Isaiah.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 46 and verse 7. And thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou didst not lay these things to thy heart.
Okay, because they think they're going to be established forever. They didn't lay this to their heart, that in one day and 1 hour they're going to be destroyed. Read on.
Neither didst remember the latter end of it. Therefore, hear now this, that thou art given to pleasures, that dwelleth carelessly.
That dwelleth carelessly. They can go in anybody's land and tell them what not to build. How you go in somebody's land? Look, we don't want y'all building nuclear missiles over here. Tell them, protect yourself. Shut this down. We're going to set a military, matter of fact, they set a military base over there. Okay, this is what they do. They live carelessly. They ain't have no care. Read on.
That sayest in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow.
He said, I ain't lost none of my, I'm still gaining. They still on top. This is I don't sit as a widow. Read on.
Neither shall I know the loss of children. Behold, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day.
Read on.
The loss of children and widowhood.
God said these two things gonna come to you in a moment. What's that moment? 1 hour. Read on.
They shall come upon thee in their perfection.
Is they gonna come upon you? It's gonna be perfect. Read on.
For the multitude of thy sorcery.
How did they keep us enslaved?
For the multitude of thy sorcery.
He telling you how their kingdom is upheld. Through the multitude of thy sorceries. Read on.
And for the great abundance of thine enchantments.
For the great abundance of thine enchantments. Real quick, let's get the book of Ephesians chapter 6. What is this now fall with us? Through thy sorceries and enchantments. How does this stuff now affect, how is this now an attempt to affect us? Let's read this first and then we'll go into it. Ephesians chapter 6 verse 10.
The book of Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 10. And finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and the power of his might.
Read on.
Put on the whole armor of God.
Put on the whole armor of God. Read on.
That ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
God is telling you got to protect yourself because they are working through sorcery and enchantments. They know how to keep you enslaved. So he's saying, you know what? Now it's time. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and the power of his might. Put on the whole armor of God that you may be able to stand against the tricks of the devil. Read on.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
He's telling us this battle that we fighting against now, it ain't nothing as you've been in before. These other nations, they came at you physically. They done the research. They done the studying. They know what it takes to conquer you. They're now working with sorcery. Put on the whole armor of God. It says, well, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but what?
But against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world.
Read on.
Against spiritual wickedness.
Against spiritual wickedness.
In high places.
Meaning places that we can't see. Read on.
Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day.
We're in the evil days. Read on.
And having done all to stand.
Having done all you can do to stand. Read on.
Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparations of the gospel of peace.
Read on.
Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked.
Showing you that they shot in secretly. How they shot secretly? Through sorcery and enchantments. This is why he said we don't wrestle with flesh and blood. They playing a higher level now. Their inward thought is that their houses may continue forever. They gonna do everything that they can to keep you enslaved. They ain't coming at y'all with arms and guns. They're playing on a higher level. I wrote down something so I wouldn't forget the thought. I said, if spiritually, if we can look, I'm talking about us in here as believers. If we can look at our physical, I'm talking figuratively. If we can look at the armor that we have on, if we only understood how dinged up our armor is, we would understand that how endangered we are. Though we have on this armor, we're being protected by the truth. The Lord said they're shooting at y'all. We have all, on some form of shape, we have all been tainted in this land. They shot at us secretly. We are not innocent. That's what the Lord is telling us. But we have protection. That's through the strength of the Lord. That's why we don't have no excuses when he returns. It's what he says, you don't have no excuse. You need to do everything that you can do to stand in the evil day, having done all you can do. There ain't no room for where the Bible has too many laws. It's too many for us to keep. You don't got no room for that. That's why these Christian churches, they are endangering our people, giving them that philosophy. I don't even want to jump into it. Give me Revelation chapter 12. I'm going to come back to that thought. Revelation chapter 12, verse 17. I'm going to show you this war real quick. Revelation chapter 12, verse 17.
The book of Revelations, chapter 12, verse 17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman.
We're going to come back and explain this later. Read on.
And went to make war with
Who is the woman? Israel. Read on.
And went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are at war right now. He says the dragon was wroth with the woman. He went to make what? War with the woman. Read on.
And went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which kept the commandments, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ.
How did they make war with us? Real quick, let's go back in time real quick. Let's read Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 16. Soldier Aaron, you can get that. Soldier Antithija, you get Exodus chapter 8, verse 25. I want to read through this real fast. I got a couple more scriptures. We almost done.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 16. And thou shalt consume all the people.
This is one of their tactics that they research and they study what could be the beginning of our fall. Read that again.
And thou shalt consume all the people, which the Lord thy God shall deliver thee.
When you get into this land, you can consume all the nations that are round about thee. Read on.
Thine eye shall have no pity upon them.
Read on.
Neither shalt thou serve their gods. For that will be a snare unto thee.
Because their gods are going to be a trap unto you. That's why when we got into the land, before we got into the land, we were commanded to destroy their idols. Because they were going to eventually become a snare to us, a trap to us. Okay, read the one you got in Exodus 8:25.
The book of Exodus chapter 8, verse 25.
I'm showing you this for a reason. Read that.
And Pharaoh called for Moses and for Aaron and said, Go ye, sacrifice to your God in the land.
Now this is before the 10th plague came. He says, look, okay, I understand. Out of all the 9 plagues he was jacked up with, look, okay, I understand. I know how serious y'all are now. Y'all can go. Just take these cattle and just go sacrifice over there. Y'all don't have to leave. Why are y'all trying to leave? What did Moses say?
And Moses said, It is not meet so to do, for we shall sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians to the Lord our God.
Moses said, look, we got to get up out of here. You got too many idols. We can't worship our God and be in here with y'all guys. These guys are no gods. We got to get up out of here. This is tainting us. This is a snare. We ain't supposed to be here worshiping our God while y'all got y'all gods standing here. We have to leave. Read on.
Lo, shall we sacrifice the abomination of the Egyptians before their eyes, and will they not stone us? We will go 3 days' journey into the wilderness. And
Moses said, look, we getting up out of here. Let's drop that. Let's go straight to the point. We getting up out of here. We can't worship our God and be here with your abomination. We can't do this at the same time. Why? Read Wisdom of Solomon chapter 14 verse 11. And Soldier Henry, you get Psalm 64 again. So in case we lost the point, read that in Wisdom of Solomon 14, chapter 14, 11 through 12. Soldier Henry, you can read that.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon chapter 14 verse 11.
You read 64:4.
The book of Psalms, chapter...
You're going to read that one next. Read that one you got, Soldier.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 11. Therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles...
Even upon the idols of the Gentiles, read on.
Shall there be a visitation?
Shall there be a visitation? There will be a visitation. We're going to shut down the Virgin Mary statue that's in the Catholic Church. The Buddha, that Caesar Borgia that's in, where is it? Where is it? Huh? No, the big one. The one that like that. Oh, it's coming down. It's coming down. South America. Oh, it's coming down.
The extra large.
Rio, something like that. Yeah. That image coming down, face first. Read that again.
Therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles.
Okay, I don't want to lose y'all. Pay attention to this part. Read on.
Shall there be a visitation? because in the creature of God, they are become an abomination and stumbling blocks to the souls of men.
These idols, whether we acknowledge them or not, they are a stumbling block to us. They are a stumbling block to our souls. Read on.
And a snare to the feet of the unwise.
And a snare to the feet of the unwise. Read that again in 64. You don't got to get it. Read that, soldier.
The book of Psalms, chapter 64 and verse 4. That they may shoot in secret at the perfect.
Now, how did they shoot at us in secret at the perfect? Now, real quick. With these idols, they knew what it takes to keep us in sin. This is one attempt. And I'm not saying this affects us today. Matter of fact, I'll get that later. Let me get the first one I sent you. That's under the clip. No, under that one. Give me that first one. Yeah, it's a URL. No. The URL, the Google picture. It's under that clip. Yeah, that first one. Check this out. I know y'all see this every day, right? Well, not this every day. Hold up. Go back real quick. Get the second one. You remember the idols of their gods became a snare to our souls. It's set up to destroy us. And I'm gonna tell you something. This is for y'all, because I'm gonna say this too. I am not saying that y'all cannot use a dollar bill anymore. I'm not saying that certain places, what I'm about to show y'all can't go there anymore. But I'm showing you the philosophy behind why they do these things. They're trying to get us to sin, to keep us in sin. Some of y'all see this every day. Where does that come from? The back of the dollar bill. Where did that come from? Take a good look at it. You see it? Y'all see the details of it? Where did it come from? Play this. Get the other one. Yeah.
Presidential seal.
Yep, it's on the back of a dollar bill. It's in your pocket every day, right? Where did it come from? Y'all see what this is? That's the Egyptian god, Horus. Their idols. This is how they shoot at the secret and poor. They bring back all the idols and all the gods they worship and put it right in our face. Give me the other one. That's the third one. Blow that one up. Some of y'all might have seen this, maybe some of y'all haven't. This is a god of the Greeks. His name is Hermes. Some of y'all probably seen him in the kids' movie Hercules. That was the little blue creature flying around. You can go to the next one. Go to the next one. Same one, yep. Here's another image of him. Look on the bottom of his feet. All right, so go back to the other one real quick. The modern day one. Look at the bottom of his feet. Y'all can see that back there? All right, now go to the fourth one. Somebody said it. You see where I'm going with this, right?
Don't hurt him, Cap.
That's where it is. You see this? They bringing back all their idols because they know these things are the snares of the souls of men. They doing it subliminally. I'm not saying don't go to Goodyear tires. Let's just get that on the table right now. All right? But I'm showing you their mentality. They knew what it takes to make us fall. We had a problem with idolatry back then, so they put it in our faces for an attempt to make us sin. But we know enchantments don't work for against the nation of Israel, right? Let's get the next one. The fourth one. Matter of fact, hold up. Give me the Wikipedia on this thing right here. You see what I'm talking about? Soldier Aaron, if you can read that.
Hermes is an Olympian god in Greek religion and mythology, the son of Zeus and the played Maya, the second youngest of the Olympian gods.
Okay, jump down. Go down to where it says Hermes was the missionary. Whatever. Go down real quick. Go back up. Up, 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 up. Up. Right there, right there. Read that real quick.
Hermes was the emissary and messenger of the gods. Hermes was also the divine trickster and the god of boundaries and the transgressions of boundaries.
Jump down to the 4th sentence.
Graves.
Hello. You can see numbers on yours? Yeah, the 4th one. Afterlife.
He was also viewed as the protector and patron of roads and travelers.
This is why they use that for the tires. He was the what?
He was also viewed as the protector and patron of roads and travelers.
Okay, I'm just showing you this. I'm not going into some conspiracy theorist type stuff. I'm showing you. Their mind is deep. Every one of them. That's what the scripture says. They search out iniquity. All right, let's get the other one real quick. Let's get the other one. Give me a second. Get the one underneath that Wikipedia. Yep, that one. Pull up the image first. That was the picture right above that. Now you see this one? This is a Greek god by the name of Nikes. Let's get the Wikipedia on it. She was a goddess of Nike. Read that.
Nike mythology. In ancient Greek religion, Nike was a goddess who personified victory. Her Roman equivalent was Victoria. She was variously described as the daughter of the Titan Pallas and the goddess Styx, and the sister of Kratos and Zeus.
Okay, so this is where they get their shoes, Nikes. That's where that come from, a Greek god. Okay, let's get the next one. I'm gonna be real quick through this because I don't want to be all day on this. I'm just showing you. Go down to the bottom of that plumbing commercial. Click on the first one. Okay. Yes, pull that up. How many of y'all ever seen this right here? I heard of this company. Midas. Y'all see what it says? For brakes, tires, and oil, everything, trust the Midas touch. How many of y'all know where that came from? Let's go back to it. Let's go up. Let's go up. Click on that. Get his image in real quick. Okay, that's the image of Midas, okay? Now let's see where that doctrine came from. Get the Wikipedia on it. Read that.
Midas. Midas is the name of at least 3 members of the royal house of Phrygia. The most famous King Midas is popularly remembered in Greek mythology for his ability to turn everything.
Here we go again. The Greek mythology. All this Greek. Read on.
For his ability to turn everything he touched into gold.
That's the slogan for the Midas Tire Auto Company. All of they guys, they bring it back up. All of them. And they put it in our face and we don't know. That's how they shooting at the secret and poor. They shooting at the perfect and poor. They shooting at the perfect and secret. Putting these idols back in our face. Right? Let's give me some more. Let me see. I got some more. I'm gonna be shorter. I don't want to put all these out. All of this is just. It really doesn't matter to us because we keep God's commandments. Idols are nothing to us. We know that, brothers, right? Sisters, we know that, right? So these things can't work against us. Now let's see. Y'all sisters gonna know this part up. Real quick, get the one over the. You know what I want? No. Up. No, go down. Over the movie. Oh, go down, go down, go down, go down, go down. Right there. Yep. No. Up above that. Yeah. I'm trying not to say the name. I don't want to spoil it. I want y'all to see it. Yeah, get that. Yeah. No, don't pull that one up. Yeah, pull that one first. Now pull that up on the screen. Okay. Here's another Greek god. Guess what his name was? Ajax. He was known for his strength in war. He was able to endure many battles. I didn't give you this real quick. Click on now. Click on the Wikipedia. Read that.
Ajax is a brand of cleaning agent products introduced by Colgate Palmolive in 1947 for a powdered household and industrial cleaner. It was one of the company's first major brands. The cleanser ingredients include.
Hey, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. In case y'all forgot that some of these products hanging around, who right there? Officer Eladar?
Officer Eladar.
Hey, Officer Kabash, bring that bottle off the sink. Yeah, give me that bottle off the sink. In case y'all forgot, like this stuff, this is old. I'm pulling up old stuff. Yeah, you know what I want? Get that.
You gonna bring Palmolive?
No, Ajax. No, not that one, the red one.
Simple green.
Yes, sir. In case y'all forgot, like this stuff ain't around no more. It's still here. It's in their houses. They still represent their gods on our everyday products. They inward thought is deep. They evil as hell. That's why the Most High say He gonna bring them down because of their sorcery. Real quick, let's go back. Let's go back. Yes, sir. Yeah. I want to read that real quick. You go back off the picture. Go to Wikipedia.
Etymology of the name. The original Ajax powder slogan was stronger than dirt.
Remember, because he was strong in battle. Ajax was strong in battle. So the slogan for Ajax was stronger than dirt. Read on.
A reference to the muscular hero Ajax of Greek mythology. Some Ajax dish soaps now feature the trademark slogan, stronger than grease, which may be a pun on grease. Another early slogan was Ajax the foam cleanser.
All right, we done with that. Now I want to show you something real quick. Hey, we gotta. Now I'm gonna just say this one. This was a battle of Cannae in 26. This was between Hannibal and the Romans. Their war tactic was the Romans that they would have their formation, and they would approach in very. Dang, I gotta play the video. I can't explain this thing. Play that real quick. No, underneath that one. No, it's actually at the bottom. It's near the bottom. It's like the third one down. You're right there. I just want to show you this battle movement. Go forward into the video. It's like at the end. I didn't even have a timestamp for this. I didn't know whether or not I was going to play it. Go towards the middle, like right there. Yeah, right there. Go back a little bit. Oh, with your cursor. Go back. Until you see this kind of right there. Okay. I'm gonna explain why I'm pulling this in a few minutes.
In front of the massed Roman infantry, Hannibal places his allies from Spain and Gaul. They will bear the brunt of Rome's attack.
Turn it up.
Cavalry face each other on both flanks. Elite African mercenaries are held in reserve.
So the red is the Roman, the blue is Hannibal.
Hannibal puts himself in the front line with his Spaniards and Gauls.
His war tactic was evading.
Here, he will be exposed to great personal peril.
Hannibal is, par excellence, the leader by example. Here is a barker. Here is Hamilcar's heir. Does he sit on a white or a black horse on a bluff, looking down on his army fighting at Cannae? No.
Okay, go a little, go
is
forward a little
there
bit.
in the center.
So you can see how they set up, how they arrange for battle. Go back, go forward a little bit, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Like the most common of his private soldiers.
Facing the full force of Rome's greatest army,
there.
Hannibal leads his men
paddle very slowly, sucking the Romans into a trap.
The Romans surge
Check
forward.
this out. The Romans come in, Hannibal and his troops, they move back.
As far as the Romans are concerned, their plan is working perfectly. There's a chance of this massive, clumsy victory that they'd wanted, so they push on. But in doing this, they've lost what little order they had. It's like the crowd spilling out of a big football match. Thousands and thousands of people, tens of thousands of people, crammed together in a very small space.
The Romans are playing straight into Hannibal's hands. His plan is working. While Hannibal, the Gauls, and Spaniards keep the Roman infantry occupied, his cavalry rout the Roman horsemen and chase them from the field. Hannibal springs his trap. His deadly African mercenaries cut into the undefended Roman flanks.
They're suddenly facing foes that are coming from different directions. They can't organize a proper fighting line to face them. Everything is chaos. Momentum from the Roman attack goes completely. The crowd has stopped, but most men in it don't know what's happening at all.
Hannibal's cavalry returns to complete the encirclement of the Roman infantry. The Romans are surrounded.
Okay. Did y'all see the layout of the battle, right? Okay. This is what I'm showing you. The surprise attack is when they came from behind. That's how they were able to defeat the Romans. The reason why I showed you that is because that's the same thing that's happening to us today. The scripture says they shoot at us in secret. They shoot at the perfect in secret. While we're so focused, while they got us focused on a black and white issue, I'm talking about people that don't understand. They got us focused on it's just racist. It's because of our skin color. This is why they hunting us in the street. This is why they're killing us. They got us focused on a black-white issue. It's spiritual. They know who we are. That's the real attack. So while we're focused on the black and white issue, they already ambushed us from behind, shooting us at us in secret. They already been conquering in the battle. But they got our people distracted thinking it's just a police and a black and white thing while they shooting at us, destroying us through religion, destroying us through their holidays, destroying us through philosophy, talking about that our Bible ain't real. This is how they're attacking us. While we're so focused on the army that is in front of us, they already circled around us. This is what I was saying, that they shoot at us in secret. This is how they do it, through these guys that they promote, and also also another way how they do it. Give me real quickly videos. Let's go speed it up. I don't want to. This is another way they shoot at us. Give me this real quick. This is the part that we go into the Hollywood part of it. Give me real quick. Give me the Angry Birds. Yeah, this is what we allow our kids to watch. I'm not saying. I'm gonna say this again. This is a disclaimer. I am not saying that you cannot watch the movies. What I am saying is that they shoot at us secretly because they want to defile us. This is how. Everybody know that homosexuality was passed in all 50 states of America. So they have to now get us comfortable with seeing feminine tendencies. Getting us seeing sodomite. Sodomite's just active, just like it's normal. So they put it in kids' cartoons, they put it on commercials, they put it in the movies. This is one. I caught this, I was watching this movie with the kids, my kids, and I was like, what the world? This caught me off guard. I was telling my wife, that right there is evil. But the kids don't see it, but we see it. And they put it in the movies. Play that real quick. How they shoot at the secret import. It's perfect. Let's turn the sound up.
Oh my God.
Mr.
Piggy Island. Oh my God.
Who's next? We need flyers, not stand-byers. Let's go.
You go out there and you show them how frightening mimes can be.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We're having a feast.
Stop.
The eggs. Gonna have a big feast. Gonna have all the eggs.
Stop.
What?
What I want to show y'all is that because that's a man. That is a male character. You see how he's talking? Yeah. Now when the kids look at it, they hear it in public like, it don't bother them because if we heard that coming from some man talking like that, we're like, what the hell wrong with you, brother? Put some bass in your voice. But we see this on cartoon, they try to slowly bewitch us into it. To say that this is okay, this is just the way of life. Get with the time. Get with the times. And let's get the other one real quick.
Hey, the bishops speak about that bewitching a lot.
Yeah.
The man's name, his name is Sigmund Freud. Look him up. And basically, he came up with ways and philosophies on how to destroy the mind of people. He dealt with the mind. That's where his sorcery was. It wasn't like Hogwarts and Harry Potter, boogie, woogie, woogie. It was more so of, if you do this thing, this is going to be the ripple effect. Like, if you, now the homosexual vibration is pushed out on the earth. So if your favorite comedian, Kevin Hart, joke about homosexuality, and you laugh about it, that means that your defense towards that has been deaded. Why? You've accepted that because you laughing. And slowly but surely, you start to accept it.
All right, now we played this before. Get the Campbell's soup commercial. Some of y'all might have never seen this. There was so many commercials.
Done.
Go ahead.
Dun 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 dun. Cooper, I am your father.
No, no, no. I am your father.
You see how they did it, right? They didn't even show the whole scene. They showed one male. I'm your father, then they flip. I am it. It's a shot at us, telling you. This is the fiery darts of the wicked. All of this stuff is contaminating us. Little do we know it, even though we don't acknowledge it, some way it's growing in acceptance in your spirit. Some of us, I'm gonna say some of us, right? This is why when you read about certain prophets, they was taken off of the earth lest their wisdom should be tainted. We're still left on this earth because we're being tainted somehow. Thank the Lord for the Bible, thank God for his protection, because this stuff don't work against us. This only works for the ignorance of our people. Even the stuff you look at at Christmas, these are all ancient gods. This stuff is not new. Santa Claus, they just put him in the picture of it. Nimrod was the original character of Christmas, or what we call Christmas today. Halloween, the devils, the image of everything that's in Halloween tell you what it is demonic. Easter, the god of Ishtar. She was a god of fertility. This is why they have a bunny. And bunnies don't even lay eggs. We don't even put those two together. Bunnies don't lay eggs. What does a bunny have to do with eggs? We don't even put those two together because they have now got us where they wanted us to be. Look, they don't understand it. They ain't putting two together. They got their kids celebrating these things. Back then, when we worshiped the god of Molech, what was the sacrifice? When we worshiped the god of Astaroth, what was the sacrifice? What? Say it louder. Children. When we worship the god of Riphaim, what was the sacrifice? Do you see the connection between it? All of these things that they putting out there, where is it? Who is it dedicated to? The children. We're sacrificing. Our people are sacrificing their children spiritually. Everything is dedicated to the children. They're trying to keep us in sin. Santa Claus ain't got nothing to do with an adult. That ain't history to us. We don't care about St. Nicholas in no factory in the North Pole with some elves creating toys. That ain't history. So who is it dedicated to? The children. Same thing with Halloween, the candy, Easter Bunny, all of this stuff, finding the eggs, the game of finding eggs hidden under rocks and stuff like that. It's all for the children. This is how they shoot at the poor. And also the movies. I'm going to jump it up. I'm going to just go through it real quick. Give me Psalms 91. Psalms 91 verse 1.
The book of Psalms, chapter 91 and verse 1.
This is why we ain't got nothing to worry about. This is why the class is called God Fights for Us. Read on.
He that dwelleth in secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty.
What is the secret place? It's talking about this Bible. This is the secret that the world that have no clue about. Unless they repent. This is the secret. Read on.
I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall uncover thee with
He shall cover thee
with His feathers, and under His wings.
And under His wings
shalt thou trust.
Shall we trust? Read on.
His truth.
His what?
His truth.
Read on.
Shall be thy shield and buckler.
His truth is going to be our shield and our buckler. Don't they try to come at us with different ways of attack? We ain't got that. We ain't got nothing to worry about. His truth is our shield and our buckler. These guys that they putting on our everyday merchandise don't affect us. That's their attempt. I'm just showing you their attempt to destroy us. That stuff don't work against us. Even when you go back and read in the book of Numbers, when Balak tried to curse us, who knows the setup of that whole scene? Who knows the setup? What happened, Soldier Haziel? Who knows? Yeah, tell me something about that setup.
He went to Baal Peor and was telling him to go curse the people.
Okay.
God spoke to him and was like, "Yo, you can't curse the people," because He blessed them.
Okay, but what was the scene? What was the scene?
Oh, they set up some altars. Some pagan altars.
I'm gonna bring it out. I'm looking for detail. The details in it. Remember, we were in the lower valleys, right?
Yeah.
Where was Balak and Balaam standing? Whose hand is that? Where were they standing?
The hill or mountain.
They were standing on a hill or a mountain. They were viewing us from afar. They was on a high hill. We were down in the valley. They said, "Look, I need you to go down there and curse these people." Didn't people right there? Curse them. We had no idea that when we were amongst ourselves operating, doing what we were doing, the Lord was protecting us the whole entire time. When we are in truth, we don't have nothing to worry about. Little did we know that there was a nation trying to curse us while we were still trying to operate amongst families. There was somebody trying to curse us on the other side, and the stuff didn't work. The same thing now, that they sitting at their round tables trying to figure out how to curse us and bring us down. Little did we know the Lord is protecting us. That's why it says His truth is going to be the shield and our buckler. Give me that in Sirach chapter 4 verse 28. We didn't even have no idea that this man was up on the hill trying to curse us. We found that out through history. That this man was trying to curse us the entire time that we was trying to go to our land. The Lord was protecting us. Read that real quick, Soldier Antithesis.
The book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 4 and verse 28. Strive for the truth unto death.
The Lord said, I'm going to lead this to you. You strive for the truth unto death. You Israelites, this is your job. Strive for the truth unto death. Read on.
And the Lord shall fight for thee.
That's why we ain't picking up guns. That's why we ain't trying to come against them physically, because we know this ain't a physical battle. In Ephesians, it said we don't fight against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness. Lord said, you worry about the truth and I'll deal with them. Strive for the truth unto death and the Lord will fight for you. He's talking about the nation of Israel. Let's go from that to the book, back to the book of Ephesians, chapter 6:13. Today, if you look at the example where we read in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, I got 3 more scriptures, I'm almost done. If you look at the example in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, when we read about eating things not strangled unto idols, I'm showing you how far we are destroyed. If you look at the mindset now compared to back then, it was an issue to see an idol. Like if you were in Israel, you saw an idol, all the leaders coming out. We're trying to figure out what's going on, why is this here, who brought it? Because they about to die tonight. Because that wasn't accepted. Nowadays, you see how desensitized we become? We go into a China mart, we see they Buddha right in front of the register. We look at it. The mindset back then, hold up, brother. You didn't just come out of that. You don't see that altar right there in front of that? That was a mindset back then. Now we go in there, we see these idols on the side of the street down here in Orlando. They have Chinatown. They got their idols all on the side of the road. People just pass by them. No regard to them. Back then, that was a problem. For us, at the nation of Israel, we knew idols couldn't be tolerated. We knew that we didn't tolerate idols. But now we have become like, yeah, it's just an idol. It's just Chinatown. Anyways, going back to where I was going. I'm going to Midas, Touch, AutoZone. You see how far we have become from our mindset back then? It was a problem for a brother to go into a restaurant, for some, to eat food that had idols in the setup. Now we have no regard to it. On some level, this scripture is not performed as it was back then to us. You understand what I'm saying? We use this scripture for Christmas, stuff like that. We got to stay away from Christmas. If it has a Santa Claus on it, you don't want to defile your brother's conscience. Don't drink that. We use it in essence because we know the truth. But to our people that are ignorant, we don't have no regard to it. Yeah, just not that boot over there. Yeah, it is what it is. Hey man, did we get a orange chicken? Yeah, teriyaki. Yeah. You got sort. We don't look at none of this stuff. We don't acknowledge it because we've been tainted in some type of way. That's what I'm showing you. Right, real quick, let's go to Ephesians chapter 6:13.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 6 and verse 13. Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of God.
God said you better take unto you the whole armor of God. Read on.
That ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand.
So there is no room for error. The little flaws that we go through, we got to overcome these things. Because we know that there is no room for error. Give me that, soldier Anthony. And Isaiah 64 verse 6. There is no room for error. This is why he says, stand, having all that you can do to stand. Read that.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 64, verse 6. But we are all as unclean things.
But we all as unclean things. Read on.
And all our righteousness.
And all our righteousness is what?
Are as filthy rags.
Are as filthy rags. That's why we ain't got no room for error. So these Christian pastors, they are lying to us, talking about no man is perfect. If you break one, you break them all. Having no idea what that's talking about. You putting us in sin. You putting us in a way of death, talking about since we can't keep them all, we might as well just break them all. God say even what we do that is considered right, that's not even enough. So it's best to keep the little that we can keep to the best of our ability. That's what's considered perfect. It says all of our righteousness as filthy rags. Read on.
And we all do fade as a leaf. And our iniquities, like the wind, have taken us away.
Okay, real quick. Give me the book of Genesis chapter 22. Matter of fact, don't even get that. Let's get to the last one. Revelations 12. I quote Genesis 3:22. I was going to go here and show you that. Showing you the difference between the time. Understand this first. We have an advocate with the Father. If any man sin, we have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ the righteous. Back then, this is why our forefather Adam and our foremother Eve was kicked out of the garden. Because they understood what we understand now. This is why they were kicked out of the garden, because they had knowledge of evil. We have the knowledge of evil. We're not in a condition to go into that place that he has set up for us in the beginning, because we are simply not yet ready. That's why he says having all that you can do to stand, because we got to clean ourselves. Just like when we came out of Egypt. We seen all of their gods, even though we didn't worship them. He said, look, tell your men don't come at their wives until the third day. I'm going to come down, I'm going to show myself to them. They got to sanctify themselves because they've been tainted. They've been in that land too long. They've been fooled. They've been under deceit. Same thing with us here in America. We have been fooled. We've been under deceit for too long. We are tainted to some level or to some degree. So the same reason why our forefather Adam and Eve was kicked out of the garden is because of what they understood is the same thing we know and understand now. That's why our righteousness is a filthy rag. But let's get Revelations chapter 12 verse 15. Last two.
The book of Revelation chapter 12 verse 15. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
His lies, read on.
That he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
That we might be destroyed. Her is the Israel, read on.
And the earth helped the woman.
What was the earth? The truth. That goes back to Psalms 85 verse 11. Truth came out of the earth. Truth shall spring out of the earth. The earth helped the woman. Read on.
And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood.
And it swallowed up their lies. That's why we are not in the same decayed state as our brothers and sisters. But we got to show them. We got to show them the right way. The truth helped us. It says swallowed up the flood. Read on.
Which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was wroth with the woman.
Okay, drop that. Go to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5. Last one. Let's close it out with this.
The book of Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5. What do you want?
5 and 1.
Verse 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him.
We're going to turn this thing around full circle, and we're going to come back to what we were once known. That people that you should have always feared and never touched. We're going to come back to that state. We're going to stand in great boldness before the face of them that afflicted us. Read on.
And made no account of his labors.
And made no account of our labors. So-called blacks and Hispanics, we are the greatest people. We have created everything, half everything on this earth. The reason why these nations are even pull up at a traffic light is because of the Israelites. The reason why they're able to talk on a cell phone is because of the Israelites. The reason why they're able to use a broom is because of the Israelites. The reason why they're able to eat peanut butter and jelly is because of the Israelites. The reason why they're able to make clothes using the cotton gin, which speed up production, is because of the Israelites. Now, out of all those things, out of half of those things we created, what profit are we seeing out of that? None of it. This is why it says they're going to stand in great boldness of them that afflicted them and made no account of his labors. Read on.
When they see it, they shall be troubled with the terrible fear.
Okay, just as they was back then. Read on.
And shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they look for. And they, repenting and groaning, for anguish of spirit, shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision.
So they looked at us at this point in time and said, this is them who we sometimes had in derision. This is the people who we tried to destroy. Look what they're doing now. Look who they are now. Look what they remember. Read on.
And a proverb of reproach.
And we had them in a proverb and a reproach. This is the end time. This is what they're going to eventually say when they look upon us as we return. Jump down to 14. Read to 20. We're going to close it out with 20.
Verse 14. For the hope of the ungodly is like dust that is blown away with the wind.
Their plan shall fail. Everything that they do with us, to us in secret, is going to fall like the dust that bloweth away. Read on.
Like a den froth that is driven away from the storm. Like as the smoke which is dispersed here and there with a tempest, and passeth away as the remembrance of a guest that tarrieth but a day.
Okay, like a guest that cometh. He only there for a time, he leave it. Read on.
But the righteous live forevermore.
But we're going to live forevermore. This is what we got to look forward to. But we got to endure this little battle right here. Understanding that there ain't nothing we can do about it. They're going to continue putting their gods on our merchandise. They're going to continue putting their lies into the commercials, into the movies. We got to understand that they enchantments and they war tactics don't work. All their fiery darts, they bounce off of us. We still taking effects, but guess what? We're going to overcome this battle they put us in. Read on. We're going to live forevermore. Read on.
Their reward also is with the Lord.
Read on.
And the care of them is with the Most High.
The reason why you're getting the reward, because you've done everything that you could do to defend yourself in this battle. Read on.
Therefore shall they receive a glorious kingdom and a beautiful crown from the Lord's hand. For with his right hand shall he cover them.
We're going to protect us. Read on.
And with his arm shall he protect them.
Read on.
And he shall take to him his jealousy for complete armor.
Read.
And make the creature his weapon for the revenge of his enemies.
Okay, how many of y'all recall that? He's going to make the creature, meaning the creation, the nation of Israel, for what?
Revenge of his enemies.
He said, thou art my battle axe. He said, thou art my weapon of war. He's going to use us. Read on.
He shall put on righteousness as a breastplate and true judgment instead of an helmet.
Read on.
He shall take holiness for an invincible shield.
Read on.
His severe wrath shall he sharpen for a sword. And the world shall fight with him against the unwise.
So everything that they planned and they thought to do is going to be reversed. We just got to endure the battle. That's why it says endure hardness as a good soldier in Christ. We're going through the battle right now. Let's not forget that we're in the midst of war.
Shalom, Israel. I'm Elder Nathaniel, Israel United in Christ. YouTube likes to shut our channels down, as some of you have noticed, ever so often. Subscribing to join IUIC will assure you will always stay connected to our YouTube accounts. We want to do our best to make sure this truth gets out. Please click and join our subscriber YouTube channel called Join IUIC to stay linked to all of our videos. So again, please make sure you subscribe to this Join IUIC channel to get your latest updates on all our YouTube channels. Shalom.